Welcome to the Hollywood Outsider, an award-winning weekly entertainment podcast. On this episode, we're going to discuss Netflix losing 1 million subscribers, but somehow being good. A review of The Gray Man and another round of our game, How Do You Survive? And our topic this week is aliens. Why is Hollywood so damn scared of them? Let's get on with the show. My name's Aaron Peterson. Joining me today are my fellow host, John Davenport.
Hey, buddy. How you doing today?
Wonderful. Amanda Sink is here.
Hello.
And Troy Heinrichs.
I quit.
Fine. She's here.
I came back.
She's been gone for like a year, and I get relegated back to fourth chair. I don't understand how this works. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
I just do it in order of join date. That's just how I do it.
What's even worse is that I can't be counted on to save anyone's life, and yet you're still fourth chair. So what's that got to say?
Wow. What does that mean? You would jump in.
I think he's saying we're all unreliable.
That's true. That's actually true. Troy should be first at this point. I think you should get moved to the front of the line.
Troy shows up on Sundays. He shows up in the middle of the workday. He shows up at Troy is like, you know what? I could put down this Transformer toy that I've been building for 15 days. Yeah, I can go ahead and record.
It is glorious looking.
Does that guy have feelings about Transformers or what?
You know, I thought I had Transformer feelings, especially like one of my rants about the first or second Mark movie that had Transformers in it. And no, Troy actually beats me.
Yeah, we just for our Patreon, we just recorded our Transformers episode for Bad Movie Night, and Troy takes it very literal. It's very literal for Troy. It destroyed his childhood, much like George Lucas did with the prequels.
That's extra.
It's pretty amazing.
Optimus Prime never had a blue cab and flames on it, ever. Ever.
I get it. That movie's 15 years old, by the way. So, happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
That made me feel old. Thank you.
Shut up.
Does that mean Megan Fox is old enough to date finally?
I think she's been old enough, but she wasn't probably when the movie came out.
Oh, John.
No, we actually just did this because I tried to pull that whole. I tried to pull that whole card, and because I remembered one of the pretty girls that he had in that movie was way too young, and apparently it wasn't Megan Fox. I think it was the one in the first Marky Mark movie. She was like 16. When
so
that
just
movie was
keep
made.
Guessing until you know what? Until nobody can prove you wrong anymore. That's
I mean,
basically.
this is how Troy does it.
We were very clear that John and I do not do research ever.
Right. Troy's like, I'm going to get this wrong, and then I'm going to double down so bad that you're just going to get tired and agree with me.
Troy doesn't double down; he triples down. He actually goes to the Wikipedia page and adds it. That's what he does. He's like, "No, it's a fact. That's a fact."
He cites himself as a source.
He does.
He goes to some, or he sits there and tries to tell me what the names of some Transformers are, and then I have to correct him on air, which was great.
That was amazing. That was pretty cool. John's like, that wasn't a Transformer. That wasn't. Anyway, speaking of ruining people's childhood, Rob Zombie's The Munsters is going to hit Netflix this September, as will Tim Burton's Wednesday. I think Wednesday will be good, but if you happen to see the Munsters trailer in the last week, dear God, one of the worst things I've seen in a long time. And I was expecting bad. That it really rose above my expectations in terms of how bad it was. But it'll be on Netflix, so you can watch it if you want to.
That alone, when it comes out on a Netflix, is going to cost them another 1 million subscribers because it looks so bad.
Yeah, I don't think they understood the whole point of the Munsters, and it shows in that trailer.
I don't think they understood the whole point of filmmaking based on that trailer.
That's also true.
Yeah. Looks like a high school project. It looks like one of those Pornhub videos, but without the sex stuff.
Which makes it bad.
I was going to say, we don't watch Pornhub for the quality.
At any point, I'd be like, oh, it's your stepsister, or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Step bro, why are you over there when you could be step bro? You are annoying me. Okay, step sis.
John, you're reading the transcripts a little too clearly. That's all I'm saying. A little too familiar with the setups.
I don't even excite myself, so now I'm watching them for just purely artistic merit.
Here's something I found fascinating over the past week. There's a whole lot of scuttlebutt about Armie Hammer and him working as a timeshare salesman in the Cayman Islands, and it was denied. And then Variety did a whole piece where they verified, yeah, it's true. He's actually working. He's doing this in the Cayman Islands, and he comes from a very rich family, but apparently he's not on the payroll or something. And Variety's saying that it's confirmed. I'm not speaking to his scenario or his situation or his accusations or him eating people or any of that stuff. I'm just saying, why is it a negative that he's in the Cayman Islands still? He's working he's doing a regular job, sure, but he's in the Cayman Islands. I don't know. This is not like, oh, he's fallen so far. He's still in the Cayman Islands. Looks fine.
I guess one of those stories where it's like, who cares?
Yeah, who cares? He wasn't that interesting when he was an actor.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot of notoriety because he wants to eat people and not in the fun way.
Jesus.
I think a lot of it comes down to, hey guys, I'm back.
Not in the fun way. Do tell what that means.
John, I think you've given us enough transcriptions from Pornhub. I think you've got it figured out.
Go.
Oh yeah, I mean, really, if I don't have like my lobster tickler, snorkel, and just my rubber gloves, I'm not ready.
So what I think it really comes down to is journalists in Hollywood need something to try to get clicks on. They don't really care what they write about. But two, I think it speaks to the elitism of Hollywood and especially Variety, because it's like, oh no, you have fallen so far that you're doing a regular job. It's not about where he's living. It's about what he's doing. And being an actor is such higher value than it is to sell probably millions of dollars, I would imagine.
Timeshares,
yeah. So he's collecting a lot of money himself, and he's doing a lot for his business. He's essentially a businessman in some ways now, but that's still not good enough for Hollywood elites. It's, you're not an actor anymore. You're not part of us.
He's still probably making more than all of us.
Well, I mean, his net worth is somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 million, which if he's played that money the smart way, he could be sitting there comfortably making $100,000 to $200,000 a year just off of interest of that 12 million.
Probably not. It sounds like he's broke by Variety's.
Yeah, the article made it sound like he does not have
his personal
moolah.
fortune has been diminished quite substantially.
Yeah, if he had $12 million, he would not be working. If he played it smart, like John was saying.
But who cares? It's still the Cayman Islands. I would honestly think being homeless in the Cayman Islands wouldn't be as bad as one might think.
That'd be like being homeless in Hawaii. I'll take it.
Yeah, I would actually do it. I'm volunteering. I volunteer myself as tribute.
That is why Aaron watched Alone all those years, specifically for his homeless Hawaii adventure.
100% to prepare. Yeah. We don't care about Armie Hammer. It's just so ridiculous that this is a big focus for them. And John, never trust a guy who says he might eat people or he wants to eat people to take good financial sound advice from others.
I mean, that may be true. I thought that was going to go a completely different way, but yeah, that might be true.
Probably eats his money.
I might have been in the Cayman Islands because I don't even know anything about Armie Hammer or his eating people at all. Like, that's how much Armie Hammer does not even register on the radar.
Sweet. Then he's selling a sweet timeshare if you're interested.
No.
All right,
and a portion of the proceeds can go to Aaron Peterson.
Everybody knows that you buy a timeshare in Orlando because Orlando is the most transferable place for all timeshares.
Everybody knows you don't buy a timeshare unless you have enough money to go to that place every single year. It's actually very, very expensive. So, overtime. Netflix has reported that they lost almost 1 million subscribers, which is half of what they forecast they'd lose. So they actually forecast that I'm going to lose between 1.5, or I'm speaking for Netflix. They forecast that they were going to lose between 1.5 and 4 million subscribers. They only lost less than 1 million. They said, thank you, Stranger Things, for basically staving off that decline. And therefore it's a positive. So stock actually went up, which was insane to me. And also Netflix has partnered with Microsoft to develop an ad-supported tier, which they expect is going to drive subscribers back up. So, Troy, I want to start with you. When it comes to Netflix, a lot of people are saying, like, everybody's got a reason why Netflix has lost subscribers, right? Everybody's got a reason. Either the prices are too high, or they keep canceling shows, or it's the lack of good content versus too much content, or some people tried to cite the Dave Chappelle thing. That was a year ago. So I can't see how that's a factor. So what do you think the reasons are that they lost so many subscribers? Is it just because they're sampling other services, or what do you believe? Do you have a thought? Everybody's got a thought.
Yeah, I think it's called competition, number one. Netflix was the place that you went to get past seasons of TV shows. And those have now dispersed themselves between Amazon and Hulu and HBO and Paramount and Peacock. And I don't need Netflix anymore. So in order for me to be on Netflix, like Netflix is the last place I go to watch anything currently. Like I will always hit HBO Max first. I'll probably hit Hulu second. I'll hit Amazon Prime third, and then I'll hit Paramount fourth. Unless Star Trek is on, then Paramount automatically becomes number one. But Netflix is the last place I think to go to watch something currently in my rotation today. Disney Plus is probably a close second because I only need to see Star Wars and Marvel.
See, I never go to Disney Plus ever.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It's like you have to have content people are going to want to come back for. And it's like even on Amazon Prime, there's still enough stuff coming back for, like the new Bosch, the Jack Reacher,
The Boys.
Undone is really good. There's good and interesting and new content that like grabs your attention. Netflix is just basically buying up all of the foreign market, right? Here's your Spanish drama. That's the same as an English drama. Here's your Korean drama. And I'm not saying that Squid Game wasn't bad or anything. I'm just saying that like that's what they're doing is buying up foreign properties and trying to make them work in the States, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, versus focusing on actually good quality content. And without Ozark and Stranger Things on the air, it's like, what else is there to watch on Netflix?
Well, plus they're pumping out a lot of money and stuff that I would equate to, Walmart bargain bin material.
Yeah, it's like going into Game Pass or PlayStation Plus for video game people and going like, oh, I'm going to get all the first-rate titles, but the first-rate titles only come out once a year. Everything else is like B movie or B game on those services. And you end up paying a lot of money for a lot of nothing.
Yeah, that's one thing that I would add is some of these other providers, their competition, are offering shows that even if it's only for 2 months, you're watching on a weekly basis. You have to wait for the releases, Star Wars, different things like that. And Netflix is, they were the leader in binging, but now their competition is saying, well, we know we can attract and keep people on the plan longer if we do weekly releases versus people knowing that Stranger Things is going to drop at this time and not too far after at this time. So I'll just pay for it for a couple months, drop it, and get it back when I need Stranger Things again. And that's a huge disservice to them. I also think that they're really suffering from having their prices so low for so long that people got comfortable with that, that now that they're seeing it increase, it's not a matter of what the price is, but because people are paying almost that for like HBO Max and stuff. But the problem is that they've had it so low for so long that they see it as just a really big hike on their rate. And I think for us here, we can say that for the majority of us anyway, I can't speak for all of you, Netflix tends to be worth the value of what you're paying on a monthly basis when you equate it to how much it costs. However, when you look at the jumps that they're giving you every year, every couple years, it's a lot to people. And so I think that they're just challenged by that.
And in the other services, I'm not limited by number of screens I can stream it on or the types of streams I can screen it on or the type of quality that it is. Like I just paid $10 for Paramount and I have it. I pay $15 for, well, I don't even pay $15 for HBO. I get it for free through my cell phone plan and I just have it and anybody can watch it. So it's like having these like restrictions on the plans and making the plans more difficult for people to understand, I think also hurts them in the long run because I'm like, I don't know what to pick. So I'm just not going to pick anything.
Well, they started doing that password sharing and I think it's really going to hit them pretty hard where they're going to enforce that you can't do password sharing. What about you, John? Because you're like the biggest Netflix user I know. I'm pretty sure you might be what keeps them in business. So what?
I might be. I'm in a weird position currently that with my relationship with Netflix because I haven't been watching it nearly as much as I used to. Like Troy, my first look has been lately to go to HBO Max. And if I can't find what I'm looking for at HBO Max, then I go to Netflix. If I can't find it there, I go to Prime, Hulu, and then onward down the list. I'm finding that I don't have the patience for all, like, you know, there's a lot of talk lately about doom scrolling the internet, and sometimes I feel like when I'm looking for something to watch on any of the services, I'm doom scrolling those services to just find something I want to watch. And I'm almost to a point where I need something, maybe, I don't know, maybe like a quorum of people who sit down on a weekly basis to point out the things that I need to watch. And then I go and find those things and then I watch them. I don't know what you call that. Maybe a quorum cast, or I don't know. Anyhow,
a quorum cast.
John, I feel like you're part of the people that does this work.
What? All right. So like, And I say that all that joke because like that's where I'm starting to get as far as my appreciation of online or streaming media. I no longer have the patience to scroll through to finally find something that I want to sit down and watch. So I have to go in with a plan with just about any of the services. And if I don't have a plan, I am more likely to just throw it on whatever and then not watch it and do something else while it's on. On top of that, I don't have access. Well, it's not that I don't have access. I haven't been using my own Netflix plan, partially because I'm in somebody else's house using their guest features. And so like this Netflix doesn't know me as well as my Netflix knows me, which, you know, I got to tell you, there's a warmth. Like Netflix knows me in a way that nobody does.
Jesus.
And I was going to say, how lonely are you, John? Is this your new relationship?
This algorithm is nothing but step siblings.
Yeah. Like that's like between sometimes I sit there and I look at Netflix and I'm like in my own Netflix when I log into it on my computer or something. I'm like, hey, baby. And she's like, I got the right thing for you. I'm like, yeah, you do. And other times I sit there and like I look at HBO Max and Netflix kind of looks at me side eye. I'm like, oh, just watch. It's going to be good. Watch.
See, I disagree completely because my Netflix experience is not that at all. Like I get like here's the top 10 in the US and it's like, I don't freaking care what the top 10 is. I just want to continue watching what I watch. Why isn't that the first strip on the thing? And I get so frustrated with the Netflix interface. Like I log into HBO Max. I log into HBO Max. The first thing I see is Westworld's back, mofo. Like click right here. I log back into Hulu. Hey, Killing Eve just dropped. Season 4, ready to go. Like I feel like those services like understand me better than Netflix ever did.
But Netflix has so much content, though. I think that's where the difference is. It's like you go to HBO Max, they've only got like 3 shows that are going currently. You go to Hulu, they've only got like 3 or 4 Prime shows that are really going currently, and only 1 or 2 that you probably have on your list. I go to Netflix, there's a bazillion. Like they have way too much content. They spent so much money on this. They would be doing much better if they didn't just have like a financial dump on content. And I think that probably goes back to the point where Trey made right at the beginning of this topic. I really have never really had anybody make that argument in terms of why they're losing so many subscribers about the loss of the shows, the comfort shows, which they have lost a lot of those in the last couple of years. They have a lot more competition. They keep raising their prices. I mean, if you got 4K package is like $20 a month now or something. I mean, everybody else is $15 or less. So, you know, at some point it becomes like you did with cable where you have to cut out packages that you don't want. If you don't watch Netflix all the time, it's starting to come down.
I also feel like because they put out so much content, there are so many different populations that they can't keep up with targeting all of them. So many people are coming for a different reason versus like HBO Max, everybody's there because of Westworld or because of Game of Thrones or whatever it is. Netflix is like you have people coming for CW type shows, you have people coming for Stranger Things, you have people coming for all sorts of different things. And when you cut out one of the shows that is beloved to a smaller niche and you do that so often, you almost like isolate those people. And even though it's a smaller group of people that are connected to that one show, they do it so frequently that they lose a lot of people where they're just like, no, you've cut too many of my good shows out that I like. I'm out of here.
And they don't finish other shows. And they leave people hanging. That they've got that Fox reputation now. You know, they stole it from Fox. Like Fox is sitting in the back going, yes, thank God, because we don't have that anymore. Because Netflix has that reputation that you're not going to see the end of your series. If you do get invested in one, you're not going to see the end of it.
Oh, you were so right on what you just said.
Archive 81.
Still mad.
these are shows that like not every single person was watching, but they had a good collective audience for each of them. And even though those two audiences may not overlap, that's still two separate sections of viewers that are no longer interested or pissed off at Netflix for taking their shows.
Cowboy Bebop.
God. And I don't think, I mean, people are getting mad about the ad-supported tier. It's not going to affect you. If you don't want it, you just don't keep the plan you have. That's literally all you have to do.
Unless they make the ad-supported tier $9.99 and the non-ad-supported tier $20. Like, that'd be an issue.
Well, $20 would probably still be your 4K.
Probably the same one I have now.
I don't even need the 4K because it's compressed over the internet. It doesn't even look like 4K. The only thing that came close to looking good 4K was the first season of Altered Carbon. That's the only thing that I've seen 4K related that looked 4K.
I will say, unless you're watching nature videos, it's usually not comparative. Because Game of Thrones, I have the 4K discs, and I will watch it on 4K, and it's supposed to be 4K on HBO Max and da-da-da. And it is a noticeable difference, especially if they are darker shows, like or nighttime scenes and that sort of thing. Like the
Long Night.
The Long Night looks. People complain when it aired, right? Because it was all streaming that people watched it on. I watched it on my 4K disc. It's freaking phenomenal. So it's a matter of that compression. There is a compression, even if it's minor, no matter where what your connections are. So
the one service that I've seen. And it's not even like the one service. It's like the one service, the one show, the one anything that I've seen that makes having HDR 4K worth it was watching the first episode of Grand Tour on Amazon Prime. That is some. You know what Grand Tour is?
I just don't care about cars at all, man. So I don't have any interest.
I don't like, I like cars, but I only like cars as like, hey, that's kind of nice. I like Grand Tour because of those three hosts, and those three hosts are hysterical, and the adventures they get into are awesome. But also like just looking at how much care and love is put into shooting some of the things they do. That's why I'm like, that's the first time 4K was really worth it for me.
But you're not paying any extra for that, is the point. Why am I paying extra at Netflix, but I'm not paying extra at Amazon?
Because you get that ta-dum.
You get the ta-dum.
When
Amazon.
When I buy an HD movie from Apple and in the iTunes store, I get the HD version and the 4K version for the same price. So why I have to pay Netflix extra? That's the problem. That's why people are leaving.
Yeah, you get shipping with Amazon.
I mean, that's what I'm really paying for is the next.
Nobody's paying for the Prime service.
100%.
I don't know anybody that's
100%.
Prime.
I'm getting the shipping for free, and I'm getting 4K, and I don't have to pay any more than $99 a year.
Nobody gives a shit about the Prime videos. They could stop it tomorrow. They could end The Boys tomorrow, and people would be like, "Man, I'm going to miss The Boys, but I'm still getting my stuff tomorrow from shipping."
Sometimes the same day, depending on where you are.
Not as much anymore. Not as much anymore, but. You know, because everybody.
Hey, out here in Texas, I ordered something like last week or something, and they not just same day, they had like a local delivery Amazon delivery driver, and it like I could track their route. They texted me. I was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah, I get same day stuff all the time. The warehouse is literally 6 blocks from the house.
Yeah, my place in Florida, the fulfillment, there's a brand new fulfillment center right down the street from my old place in Florida.
So apparently there's some poor guy whose job it is like, God damn it, I got to drive back to the distribution center again. Thanks. I sure hope you need those cufflinks. Jesus Christ, Bob.
Hey man, you don't know when that like you got to get that like right there same day condom delivery.
I do not.
Could you imagine if people do that?
I need them now. I need them by 7.
I need some lube, some rope, and some condoms.
Extra. I need them by 7. You have no idea.
That's when the cops show up. Did you make this order? Same day. Where is she, sir?
Oh my God. All right. The Powerpuff Girls didn't work as a live action pilot. They tried to do that. So now the animated series is getting a reboot along with Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. I mean, I know you've told us in the past that you loved the Powerpuff Girls when you were a kid. Do you think this is something that would work today, or is this too nostalgic?
No, 100% I think it'll work. And I think it could have worked before. I just think it maybe wasn't in the right hands. Now, Craig McCracken, who was the creator of the show, is involved in this project. He wasn't involved before.
Name.
Craig McCracken.
Get the
What's your name? Craig McCracken.
I think there's a place for it. I think there's, especially now when there's so much talk about like women's rights and like go girls and ooh, power for females, for female superheroes who are still younger girls that can, enter into that world and inspire younger kids and also just be something fun. Because one of the great things about it is it shows, you can have all of these great abilities, but you also still have like who you are inside. That's not all you are. And I think that's something that's very different from most of the superhero stuff we have right now. Their entire identity is their superhero powers and what they do. The Powerpuff Girls, they have these abilities and they do great things, but they also have the stuff that they love and they cherish their families and all of that. So I really love the dynamic. I think it would work great right now.
You think a live action would work today?
No, the animated
I do.
series. Well, she thinks live action could work too. Yeah.
I don't know. The live action probably didn't work for the same reason the Transformers movie didn't work. I think there's just certain.
Oh boy,
Jesus, let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
There's just certain things that need to be in cartoon form.
Everybody likes that movie, but you. Everybody, literally everybody. The first one, just the first one.
Yeah, and then they made like 500 more that nobody liked at all. But even like DuckTales, when DuckTales got remade. People were like excited for DuckTales coming back because it was a cartoon. They didn't make a live action DuckTales. It just that wouldn't work.
We could do it like the Chippendale movie, where it's the Roger Rabbit version.
No.
I don't know. I think So I remember
funny.
the fervor for the Powerpuff Girls way back in the 90s, and I do appreciate that way back then they became a huge gay icon for a lot of people in the 90s. Like the inclusive nature of it was pretty great. As far as like live action versus animation, I can't see a live action of this working and still having the same sort of heart to it that the animation has. But I 100% agree with what, what's her face? Amanda? Yeah, that's her name. Was saying about
I've been gone so long you forgot my name.
Who are you?
Yeah.
I don't know. Who am I?
I don't know. You were some chick in a closet like 5 seconds ago. Nice to see you out of it.
I got abducted by aliens.
Right. So I think now, especially now, there's a lot of truth to the idea that we need to be developing a lot of media and a lot of things that help build up women's relationships with themselves and the people around them, but with themselves primarily, to start helping them feel the sort of strength that they may need for whatever fight that's coming down the road for them.
I love that.
Did you ever get that written out? Like, you're like, if Amanda shows up, I've got this cool speech that I'm going to go through.
And if she doesn't, I'm going to talk shit about women.
If she wasn't, I was going to be like, you know what? Every woman needs to be a hooker, and that's it. Because hookers are hot.
All right. Well, let's move on. Speaking of hookers, let's talk about Zack Snyder. So this is my my shocked face. You can't see it, but I have one. But Rolling Stone had a scathing hit piece that discovered that nearly 13% of all hashtag release the Snyder Cut accounts were fake, and that director Zack Snyder may or may not have been involved in some capacity. They don't actually have hard proof, just a lot of speculation. Following the announcement of his director's cut of Justice League in 2020, Snyder was reportedly hell-bent on removing the names of two producers from the film, Jeff Johns and John Berg, who he believed had negatively impacted him losing creative control of DC Films at Warner Brothers. Man, a lot of people are just coming down on Zack Snyder for this and saying he fueled a lot of these hate campaigns and da-da-da because a lot was said. I just want to say, no matter what, this report does say that, well, 87% of those were real. Okay. And typically fake bots and whatnot in any campaign on Twitter, it's about 5 to 6%. So it's really about, 8%, 7 to 8% higher than what you would expect of bots and whatnot. And maybe Zack Snyder I'm sure he was feeling it, and I'm sure he was mad because, he was going through a really, really hard time as well. By all accounts I've read, Zack Snyder's a very nice guy. I don't know. I'm just saying this is what the piece said from Rolling Stone. All that said, should we take this online campaign stuff seriously after this? Or do we just need to stop putting so much fuel into Twitter, even when it gets us something back as fans?
on the one hand, it does seem a little ridiculous to sit there and have so many so many things from like Twitter or wherever your social media platform happens to be the fuel that generates whatever you want to be made out there. But on the other hand, like you got the Snyder Cut, really a great version of the movie that we should have gotten in the first place. We got and the same sort of marketing happened for Deadpool, which tried to tell me that was a bad idea. There's a lot of great things we got. The Sonic movie, because of the negative campaign that was set against how Sonic looked.
Yeah, completely redesigned it.
Completely able to save the energy they put into a movie that turned out that that movie would have been panned for how bad Sonic looked. Mm-hmm. So now when they change it, it's actually a watchable and enjoyable family movie. So I tend to think that these sorts of campaigns, use them as a focus group, use them as a way to get it's like a focus group that's better than an actual focus group out there. When you want to get the look right for something, use the internet as a focus group. If you want to get story elements right, use the internet as a focus group. Why not? Because ultimately it's the best, cleanest, fastest way to get in touch with your potential buyers and find out exactly where they want to take it. But on the flip side, you have people like James Gunn, who's making what he wants to make the way he wants to make it. And people are trying to tell him nobody wants a Peacemaker story. But he said, screw you, I'm going to make a Peacemaker story. And guess what? You assholes are going to love it. And that's exactly what happened. So it can work both ways.
What I find absolutely fascinating is that people are still writing articles about this because they know it generates traffic. And that's all this is. I mean, this entire piece, I'm not knocking its validity. I'm sure there is some validity to it. It's just, who cares? This is so done. So done. Why are we still talking about it? People listening to this are like, why are you guys still talking about it? Because why does it keep coming back? Because apparently it's very popular. It's a popular concept. And I can't for the life of me get why. Yes, there's vitriol in every kind of group. Every campaign of any kind, positive and negative, there are people that are awful, absolutely awful. But that's all they want to focus on with the release of Snyder Cut, for whatever the reason is. That's all anybody ever wants. They always want to focus on the negative instead of, we ended up with a 4-hour bitchin' superhero movie. I mean, many of us loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it's a brilliant piece of work. And it wasn't before. So we got that. That's awesome. As far as I'm concerned, take the win, move on. We don't need to keep rehashing this, but they just won't let it go because there's so much traffic in it. And it's, I mean, who's really the worst person in that scenario? The person that won't let it go, or the person that keeps bringing it back? Wait, I guess it's the same person, or the person
the same person.
The person that did it, delivered the product that they said they were going to deliver, and then has moved on to other things. And then they get mad at him because he won't outright say, I wouldn't do any more DC products. They're actually mad at him. They're actually in the article, it's written like, we're mad. Basically, he could end this if he would just go out there and say, I won't do any more DC films. Why would he do that to himself? Maybe he wants to be given the opportunity again. I mean, that's his place. It's his vision. It's his product. I mean, what he did. So, man, we're in an entitled world.
A lot of that article came across to me as quote unquote insiders being incredibly bitter about how things happened, because in this article they reference that he stole hard drives. Like it was his footage, and he had sent one of his editors or writers or somebody to go get the hard drive and recover it for him. And they asked him to give it back. And he said, no, like, I did all this work. I'm going to keep it, even though it was technically their property. Nobody pressed charges. They didn't think he was going to do anything with it. Obviously, he ended up doing something with it, making something great of it. But one thing in terms of these campaigns, which is your ultimate question, Zack Snyder, who is being kind of listed as the villain here, especially in this article. It is a very biased article, in my opinion.
It's a hit piece. That's why I called it a hit piece.
It is. And I don't think that this should all lay on his shoulders. If he were the one who kind of instigated it and said, hey, rally around me, let's do this. It was the internet that made this kind of come to the forefront, and to make accusations that are unfounded that he created all these bots to make it happen seems a little ludicrous to me, especially for a man who just lost his daughter to suicide, that's what he was thinking about doing. That seems ridiculous. I don't know for sure, but also on the other side, they don't know for sure. So to paint him as this villain who was responsible for all of this is just outlandish.
One of the
was
lines
nothing...
even painted him as Lex Luthor. One of them even referenced him.
Yes.
It was like, Lex Luthor running
Yeah.
around. I'm like, come on.
Wreaking havoc like Lex Luthor, I think is what the quote was. And it's just, there's nothing definitive that points to him being responsible for any of that. The only data that they have is saying that there are a higher than average number of bots. But that is just responsible to people who created those bots, who said, I want to do this, and kind of create more rallying for this campaign.
Sure.
And of course, somebody who had a vision didn't get to complete their vision and wanted to complete their vision. If everybody around them was like, yeah, man, let's do this. Come on, bring it on. Of course, they're going to say, yeah, let me take part in that. I would love to share my vision. And that's what he did ultimately. And I just feel like a lot of this is just resentment and bitterness and somebody trying to drum up an article that thinks they're doing investigative journalism and has no idea how to investigate other than asking a couple of questions.
It's like the Tucker Carlson of wherever this article is written.
It's Rolling Stone. Tucker Carlson.
Rolling Stone.
Yeah, it's Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that 13% is probably verified by the accounting firm of IDGAF, because who cares? I mean, it's stupid at the end of the day, because what Rolling Stone is doing here is basically saying, like, oh, here's exactly what Elon Musk was worried about, like how much fake crap is on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to buy it. It's all fake. There's so much fake on the internet. It's why we don't have internet voting for the United States. Well, you still have to show up in person, because this is exactly what happens with the internet. At the same time, this is exactly why the internet exists, is because you're going to have fan campaigns that are going to get things done, like Jericho season 2 and like the Veronica Mars movie and all that fun stuff that comes out of all of this. Like, who cares if it's fake or not? People are doing enough effort to make it happen. Like, praise the effort. Like, that's what we have to be thinking about here. It's like people are going through a lot of trouble to make 13% of all these fake accounts.
Yeah.
Like, that's just dedication. And if someone's that dedicated to something, give that person a freaking job. Like, let them cut the movie the way they want to cut the movie. Like, that's what we should be doing here, is like looking at these people as the future creatives of our world and actually giving them status, not the people that have status today.
Don't do an Oscar campaign centered around hashtags either.
Yeah.
This is what you're going to get.
The other thing I would mention too is that what was presented in the article does not even add up to the statement he provided in the article. Because what he says is essentially, this negativity is not doing anything good for anybody. Like, none of this is worth our time to go into. I'm grateful for what happened, and it was very fulfilling that I was able to do this movie in my vision. But kind of like, that was it. And that's not the way that anybody else is painting him. And so... and from those quote unquote insiders who were pissed off at him. So I feel like this is just an unfair presentation of it. If he really wanted negativity, he would have kept this going.
Absolutely. Well, our show is independently funded. Therefore, all the expenses are paid from our own pockets. We do not have WB to help us like they did Snyder. So Patreon is where you can help us by supporting our show. Welcome Kimberly Fox to Patreon. She just joined to help support the show because there's a lot of immediate content that is available in your respective tier. Whenever you sign up, we've got Bad Movie Night that's unedited and new every month. And then we have a bonus episode as well, depending on which tier you sign up for. If you go to patreon.com/TheHollywoodOutsider, that's patreon.com/TheHollywoodOutsider, you can get immediate access to all the content in your respective tier. As well as you can go to TheHollywoodOutsider.com, TheHollywoodOutsider.com, and that's our website with reviews and more, where you will see a written review for the movie we're going to talk about right now, which is The Gray Man. And that's one Amanda saw. It's coming out on Netflix the 22nd. Court Gentry, a.k.a. Sierra 6, is played by Ryan Gosling. He's a highly skilled former CIA operative. He was once the agency's best merchant of death. After his escape from prison and recruitment by former handler Donald Fitzroy, Gentry is now, or Gentry, depends on how you say it, I don't know, is now on the run from the CIA with Agent Lloyd Hansen, played by Chris Evans, hot on his trail. Aided by Agent Danny Miranda, who's played by Ana de Armas. This cast is amazing. Hansen will stop at nothing to bring Gentry down. Amanda, the most important question I have before we get into anything is I've seen the trailer and Chris Evans has facial hair like I've never seen before. So my question to you is, does Chris Evans get to give his ridiculous mustache an origin story?
You do get to understand. I love that. His mustache is ridiculous. He does look a little bit like a 70s porn star meets a 40s Nazi, but
Ooh,
he is... It's ridiculous. He is honestly one of the best things about this movie, which I think we can all anticipate for Chris Evans. But you do learn about who he is, where he comes from. You don't understand why he has this mustache necessarily, but I feel like there are at least one comment about the mustache and how ridiculous he looks.
It's a choice. That's what that is. It's a choice. All right, seriously, this seems like it's a pretty straightforward action thriller. Is it? Or do they have plenty of twists and turns, story-wise?
They do. I mean, I don't feel like it's anything that... They're not here to create shock value, but there are some interesting takes that the story goes into. And it feels like every single character has their story fleshed out. Everyone feels like they have something significant to contribute and that you can actually understand why they're operating the way they operate, who they are, what their background is, without it feeling like a big bomb drop of all of the knowledge. It's not like exposition here and exposition there. They do a really great job of introducing you to these characters and taking you through the story.
Okay, so Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, Ana de Armas, the three
Billy
performers
Bob
I love. Billy Bob Thornton. So, but really, these are the three main ones, right? Those are the three stars. Did anyone stand above the others from that cast, or are they
the only one
matched?
The only one that I feel like didn't rise to the same ranks was Ana de Armas, which was actually surprising to me because she typically steals the scenes for me. She's so captivating and engaging. Mm-hmm. And I feel like she still had that here, but outside of the action sequences, because she does do some awesome kick-ass fight scenes, I will give her that. She's not at the same level as Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling in this movie. It's just hard to get to their level because the two of them, I never thought I would see this beautiful, beautiful day. But the two of them going against each other is like, it feels like heaven. They have such witty retorts to each other. They're both very funny in their own ways. Ryan Gosling being more dry, Chris Evans kind of trying to be more, thinking he's more funny than he really is. And also being like a very torture-fueled man, like he enjoys ripping off nails and doing really horrific things.
Ooh.
But he's got this perky, charming smile to him. Yes, he's a very dark character. Dark character.
Like
yes, I love his character. And Ryan Gosling is doing his... I feel like it's a sort of reminiscent of Drive in that character where he's kind of kept to himself, a little bit more reserved, but he also has like hidden heart to him that behind the scenes that if the right people, if they know about it, can tap into it. And you see that from the beginning and you see his character really grow and develop there too. But I feel like those two really outshine everybody else.
All right. Well, Anthony and Joe Russo, they were the famous directors who did Endgame and Infinity War and Captain America Civil War, and this is them returning to blockbuster action territory, but for Netflix. So how do they do? Any memorable set pieces here? I mean, is the action really exciting, or is it really just about the performances?
No, the action is fantastic. I will say that the fight scenes truly feel like the most exquisite dance choreography scenes that you're going to see. Everything is very colorful and vibrant, and yet dark and dour at the same time. They managed to find a really good balance of that. They also have some really cool techniques where, you know, for example, at the beginning of the film, Ryan Gosling is in this large event for like New Year's or something. And there's obviously a large party happening around him. But you know, when you hear something, you kind of zone out. You don't really hear anything. It's almost silence. Everything is just gone. They use that technique, except for when Ana de Armas is around him, they have the conversation and the dialogue is at the forefront. And so it feels like you're connecting to these characters in a deep way amongst all of the chaos that's happening around them. And like, you can really focus on these two. And I loved that. There's so many of those moments where they just make really smart decisions and very intentional decisions on how to engage the audience and what to do. And it is just visually stunning at the same time, especially for a Netflix movie.
Yeah, they haven't got a great record like we talked about earlier.
This is like movie theater top level. Like, this is something I want to see in the movie theater.
Oh, well, it's funny you say that because they were talking to a Hollywood Reporter. Did you hear about this, I assume? Their little comment. They were talking about how the film distribution landscape's changed, and they were talking about their experiences working with Disney and Netflix. And although The Gray Man was shot for the big screen, Joe Russo was very critical of theatrical distribution, saying a thing to remember too is and this is a quote, a thing to remember too is it's an elitist notion to be able to go to a theater. It's very expensive. So this idea that was created that we hang on to, that the theater is a sacred place, is bullshit. And I just want to say, well, number one, I know it is expensive, but it's more like a middle class expensive. It's not like expensive like this rich guy would have to deal with. Number two, there are A-list programs and a lot of other programs where you can pay a flat fee a month and go see as many movies as you want. So there are other opportunities out there these days, thanks to MoviePass. Even though MoviePass sucked after a while, it got these programs happening. And number three, the very comment that he said that it's an elitist notion is an elitist comment. So, is all I have to say about that. I just want to bring that up. Kiss my ass.
I feel like there are different experiences, and what he's perceiving as elitist can be elitist. If you go to the movie theater nowadays, you're probably, depending on your income, but especially middle to lower class, you're getting popcorn, drinks, candy for an entire family is outside the realm of possibility if you're going to do it multiple times a month or even, once a month.
And there's where I take some umbrance, because when I was a kid, that was a treat for us as well. That hasn't changed as far as I'm concerned, because we were very poor. I grew up in the projects, talked about this before, blah, 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 blah. That was a treat that my mom had to spend a lot of money on to go do. It wasn't a super cheap thing at that time either. So I'm not knocking either one. Both have their advantages, right? Both sides have their advantages. I'm just saying, when you knock one over the other and vice versa, like so many people that love sitting on their couch have been knocking theaters for the last 2 years and hoping that the pandemic would put them out of business. And I think that is a really elitist notion. Just like
that is also elitist.
Yes,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that comment in itself is elitist, because you can say maybe it's not a good price point for you, or it's not affordable for your family, because that happens, and I understand that and I respect that. I'm just saying, knocking either one of them, I don't think is a good answer. I think it's pretty shitty.
Well, I think it's probably more affordable to be able to go to the movies on like a Tuesday and pay $5 at AMC for Discount Tuesdays, and then versus having to invest in a movie theater at your house, hoping that you have enough space, and then also having to pay the rental fee for it. Like, that's a more elitist notion. And I think that's fine that that's an option for people. I think that's great that we have options these days. But
my favorite argument is it's cheaper with my home theater at home. Oh, how much you spend on that? Well, I got a $2,000 TV, and then I got a $1,000 sound system.
Right,
I'm like,
right.
Yeah, that math doesn't check out. And you don't have to buy popcorn and pop. You don't have to. It's just something we say.
2000. Some of the higher end TVs I was looking at just for shits and giggles were like in $3,000-$4,000 for something that's like 85 inches.
Yeah.
Let's just say whatever your favorite experience is the best way for you to watch movies. nobody's wrong. How about that? How about that?
There are also people who don't have the opportunity to do that. So, like, there are a lot of trips for, when I worked for an organization that cared for developmentally delayed adults, we would take them to the movies. That's not something that we can just get a movie theater at the house for, or you know what I mean? And especially in a time of COVID, cross-contaminating if you have somebody in the same building, and because they shared apartments in the same building or whatever, like they couldn't all just get together, versus if just one person has it, the others can go to the movie theater still. So I don't know. There's I feel like there's a little bit of something for everybody, just depending on their needs and the time of their life. But this would be cool
back to the Gray Man.
The big screen.
I would love to see this on the big screen.
Are you guys still talking about the Gray Man?
Yeah, the Gray Man. $10 full price admission. What do you give the Gray Man?
I'm giving it $8.50.
Ooh, that's a big score.
It is. It's really good.
Can't wait. It's on Netflix the 22nd, so you can watch on however much you spent on that big ass TV you have in your house. John.
What?
Amanda also saw Persuasion. She was gone for a little while. She's just watching Netflix movies, apparently. But she's back and she's got a couple reviews, so take it away.
Yeah, so as Aaron just mentioned, Amanda, you watched Persuasion. And as I understand it, the story of Persuasion goes something like this. 8 years after Anne Elliot was persuaded not to marry a dashing man of humble origins, they meet again. Will she seize her second chance at true love, or will she squander it like the bitch she is? Anyhow, this is directed...
I don't think this was in the synopsis.
Yeah. My God,
that's how I read it. Anyhow, this is directed by Carrie Cracknell, and you have people starring in it like Henry E. Grant, Henry Golden, Ben Bailey Smith, Dakota Johnson. You heard my take on what the story was.
Did you mean Richard
Amanda?
Grant?
What did I say?
You said Henry Grant and then Henry Golding. I think you meant Richard Grant.
These are the same picture.
They are very different individuals.
Anyhow, we can go on this story where I try to convince you that I said Richard E. Grant instead of Henry Golden, or we can just continue talking about this movie.
Okay, let's talk about Persuasion.
You tell me how much of the story did I just nail?
Sounds like none of it.
Well, no, you got some of it right. So first
Which
of all,
parts?
this is based on a Jane Austen book, which I am not a Jane Austen reader, so I can't give input into this. And normally these types of period pieces are not for me. But for some reason, this sort of romantic film really got to me. Essentially, this woman, and in that time, women really did have to rely on men for their future, securing their future. Particularly financially. This man did not have money at the time, and so she was persuaded out. She didn't have a mother anymore. Her mother passed away. But her mother figure persuaded her to not continue down this path with this man that she was crazy in love with. So 8 years later, she's still obsessed with him, probably to a little concerning bit of a point. And he comes back around for other reasons, and it's a will they, won't they? Essentially is what it is. But what I really love about it is that it's kind of that story. I feel like I can at least personally connect to it. I know others can connect to it, where you have this great love and then something happens, life gets in the way, whatever it may be. And so time changes things, but then eventually the two of you reunite or whatever it may be. And so I thought that was kind of a beautiful story, regardless of the outcome of their romance, that they were able to talk to each other, get closure. But it was just very beautiful, and it was very funny. And Dakota Johnson breaks the fourth wall, which is very entertaining. And I didn't know it would work, but it did.
I like that, actually. I like that idea of breaking the fourth wall, especially in a period piece. But going on with this idea of it being a period piece, one of the things that I love and appreciate the most about period pieces is how immersive those worlds become, like how much they work in the costume design, how much they work in the set design, all those sorts of things. And we did just talk earlier about, now correct me, this is a Netflix, right?
Yes.
So we did just talk about earlier about how Netflix, is very much does things on the cheap when it comes to some of their movies. Is that the case here, or how did you feel about the environment?
Yeah, it felt very real to the time and yet somehow modernized. And I haven't pinpointed my finger on what made it feel more modern. It could have just been partly the dialogue and partly breaking of the fourth wall that brought, audiences that normally wouldn't engage with this type of movie into it. But when we talk about the costume design and the set design, it all feels very, very authentic. The actors really embody their characters as if that's who they are and that's where they come from. And so that's very entertaining too. I would fully expect, quite honestly, and I would have to check the eligibility of this film, but if it qualified, I would expect it to at least get a nomination for the Oscars for its costume design, because it was really great.
Oh, that's very cool. So the movie has the likes of Richard Golding and Henry E. Grant or Golden or whatever.
Are you doing this on purpose at this point?
Yeah, I am. I am
actually
doing it on this purpose at this point. Which one of these actors, and not just the two clowns I mentioned, but all of them, which one of the actors stood out the most?
I'm glad to say that it is actually the two leads. So Dakota Johnson and Cosmo Jarvis. Dakota Johnson as Anne Elliot, she just is so dynamic in her character. She's also the one that I feel like I can connect with the most. She's the non-traditional female in what should be, everybody is the same. You look for a man, love is all that matters. It doesn't matter who you marry. You learn to love them, whatever it may be. And she's like, no, I'm not going to do things the traditional way. I don't fit in. I don't belong. But she's also very clever and funny and smart. And Cosmo Jarvis, who plays Wentworth, the guy that she had formerly been with, and then 8 years later, they're reunited in some fashion. He's a man in the Navy, and he manages to go between this. It's kind of like dry humor where he's trying to pick on her a little bit for the reason that she left him. Like, oh, well, I guess it's, I'm a rich man now, but I am as handsome as she knew me back then. La-di-da-di-da, jokes about how she left him because he was poor at the time. So he's an entertaining character as well. And the two of them have a really beautiful chemistry. So I would say the two of them together.
All right. Well, that's a cool story. $10 full price of admission. What would you give this?
I'm going to give this one $6.50.
That's pretty cool. I like it. I like where you're going with this. Aaron, why don't you take it away?
Any important recent film or TV recommendations people want to talk about, like something big? I will say I went and saw Elvis. If you haven't seen it yet, I think it is worth seeing in a theater just because of Baz Luhrmann's visual style, and Austin Butler is absolutely phenomenal as Elvis Presley. That said, I don't know what Tom Hanks is doing, but it's weird. His accent's weird. His performance is weird. Colonel Parker is an out-and-out villain. There's even though he had some villainous parts to him as a person, it was kind of weird that they gave him basically no real credit for orchestrating Elvis's career, which he should get some credit for. But it's a good movie, and it's very, very entertaining, even though it's way too long. That's Elvis. Anybody else got anything worth mentioning?
I got some crow I got to eat. And the reason why I say that is because over since 2019, when this show was announced, I'm pretty sure I said something along the lines of, well, that's stupid.
Okay.
And, I had some extra time on my hands, and I saw Mike Colter pop up on the screen, and I said, you know what? I'm going to give Evil a shot. And oh my God, is that show good? It is such a fun show.
Paramount Plus, right?
It's on Paramount Plus. Yeah. Like the first season is still very much made for TV. Every subsequent season, not so much. There's a lot of F-bombs being dropped out of nowhere. There's a lot of other things that are happening. It's just such a fun and interesting show. It takes you down this path of supernatural events, but also puts a lot of weight onto the skeptical side of all those things and treats them both equally. So I would equate it to something like X-Files, only more religious and demonic based. So where you have the demons and angels side, and somebody wholehearted believes in that, and then you have somebody on the other side who's like, no, there's always a real explainable reason as to why something like this would happen, and then you have the psychologist in the middle, playing mom and dad against each other. It's but like the characters are fun, the story is fun, everything about it. And Michael Emerson is absolutely amazing in this. He was great as Ben in Lost. He was good in Person of Interest. This, somebody said, I want you to smoke this crack, and then I want you to try to act with the effects of that crack on you, and let's see what happens. And it works. He is chewing on scenery left and right. So Evil on Paramount Plus, they're in their third season right now. I wholeheartedly think that you should give it a shot.
All right. Troy?
I finished the second season of The Flight Attendant on HBO Max. I have to say that it was not as good as the first season.
Doesn't hold up?
It's not that it doesn't hold up. They went a different angle with, Cassie dealing with her drinking problem from the first season and trying to stay sober. That kind of plays into how the thing, escalates and moves towards its resolution. Mm-hmm. They introduce a really interesting concept in the first episode that really doesn't actually pay off as a big win at the end. So it was just kind of like there, enjoyable, but yet not well executed as the first season was.
It's too bad. That's too bad.
I also saw DB Cooper, Where Are You? On Netflix. It is a 4-part docuseries on the infamous DB Cooper, who, if you are unfamiliar, I guess maybe for our younger audiences, he skyjacked a plane and got $200,000, dropped out of the plane, nobody was harmed, and escaped with that money, and nobody's known who he is for the last, 50 years or whatever. I did like that they kind of went down this rabbit hole of conspiracy theories around him, because this is probably one of the best conspiracy theories that you can follow, is who he might be and what happened and all of that. But it also gives you some interviews of people who were on the plane next to him and the FBI and CIA who've been involved in it. So that was kind of cool to see them give some of the insight and even share glimpses of some of the previously confidential files on DB Cooper from the FBI and the CIA or whatever. So I would recommend it if you're interested in that kind of thing.
I would check it out, but I already know who DB Cooper is because they solved that in Prison Break. Just so you know. Fun fact.
It
Prison Break solved that
hasn't been
mystery.
confirmed.
It was confirmed. It was real. Prison Break happened. All right, let's move on to our From the Outside In topic. Why is Hollywood so afraid of aliens? Nope's hitting theaters, and while we haven't seen it yet, we'll review it on the show next week. We do know it seems to be a horror movie about aliens, and also with some comedy. But taking that movie out of the equation, since maybe Jordan Peele has a crazy spin on the topic, let's discuss why Hollywood seems so determined to make aliens terrifying. So when you think of aliens coming to Earth in movies or TV, Hollywood overwhelmingly pits them as monsters or world destructors. It's never really something positive. It's very rarely is it a positive thing. And even if it is positive, we want to kill him anyway. Like, just look at E.T. We had to kill him too. So you look at V, you look at Stargate, you look at Independence Day, Mars Attacks, They Live, Predator, Alien, on and on and on. There's so many alien movies. But very few movies approach them as intelligent life forms who might be here for research or peaceful reasons, like E.T. or Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So why do you think that is?
For the same reason that 13% of the Twitter accounts were fake for Snyder, because crazy stuff sells entertainment, right? If they don't have a bad guy, then no one's going to come watch the movie. So it makes it very easy to take the thing that we don't know and make that the bad guy or bad gal or bad thing, because that becomes the antagonist for our protagonist to save the day and make everything all better. War of the Worlds is classic at that, even though it's just what's worth saving by the time all these monsters destroy everything, other than Tom Cruise looking amazing like he always does.
Oh, and just before you move on, that's a great side note too, because War of the Worlds is also based off the Orson Welles radio play, which famously completely convinced people that there was an alien invasion decades and decades ago.
Yeah, it's a reason why there's like certain rules that you have to do before radio plays and dramas now, because of the fact that people actually thought it was happening as real life news. And I think because of that, like the fascination with like extraterrestrial life and what's out there and things of that nature, I think it just, scares people because they don't know what's out there. And because people don't watch things like Star Trek or Star Wars, because they portray aliens as actually decent people and that we're trying to actually create a utopian society of having a united federation of planets, or the Union, if you're talking about the Orville. There are definitely cultures out there that we could learn from and might actually be more advanced than ours. And then when you think about what we're seeing with the James Webb Telescope right now, granted, what we're seeing is actually light that's very far away. So I was joking with somebody the other day. It's like, yeah, that's really cool that we can see that. However, by the time you get there, it's not actually going to be there because it already supernovaed and went away. So you're actually seeing death coming at you versus what's actually out. So is there actual life forms out there is the question. And I think that's hard to know because by the time we see it, it's actually long gone. So it's an interesting concept to think about, like what could be in space, because there is clearly, as James Webb has now shown us, a shit ton of it. So there's got to be something out there for the number of galaxies that you're currently seeing out there in existence.
It's like, what's the quote? You know what is beyond space? More space.
Or go to Contact and say, be an awful waste of space if there wasn't something else out there.
Dun, 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 dun. Shh.
But yeah, mostly Hollywood likes it because it's an easy antagonist that you can throw up there. I'm thinking like Fire in the Sky is probably one of the more underwhelming movies for some people, but yet the most awesomest movie when it comes to what would an alien abduction actually look like, because it actually felt like you were actually on an alien ship during that sequence.
Yeah.
When D.B. Sweeney's getting drug around and tossed around in that ship, and then he's got the little eye probe that goes into his eye, and he's experiencing it all in a waking state. I think that's probably the most classic depiction of alien abduction is that particular movie, and the fact that they all obviously testified, that it actually happened to the polygraph test in that movie. It just really makes you interesting.
Yeah, that's the thing about us as a society or as a species. We don't want the story where the aliens come to the planet and be like, "Hey, you're like really making this place terrible, right? Let's show you how to not make it so terrible. And no, we're just going to help you make it not so terrible, and then we're going to leave." And you guys are going to be better for it. We don't want to watch that show or that movie. We don't want to watch the movie where they cure us of cancer and then leave, or any of those other things. It's just not something that's going to excite us. It's going to be interesting because the vast majority of the people will be like, "Oh, it's too thinky or it's too emotional. I just want to see things blow up." And that's why I think we revert to our baser instincts of kill everything that is not us, and sometimes even us. That's just as fun too. And let's move on.
I feel like Hollywood, in particular, America in general, is not a fan of anything or anyone that is foreign to what they know, and so anything that is foreign must be an attack on us. It must be a problem. It must be unsafe and dangerous. And not to like get into politics here, but I feel like that's why we reference immigrants as quote unquote illegal aliens, and
to keep the negativity alive in your brain.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we associate aliens with being something scary and fearful and dangerous, when in reality, it's just that we have no idea. We can't predict how they are, what they are, or what their intentions and motives are. And that's scary to us as a human race in general, to not know in general. And that's what I think makes them scary. But I also feel like it's just been fear-mongered for so long that if we were to change that message as a collective society, for years forward, that aliens could be friendly, people would no longer be scared of aliens.
What I picture, or what I really hope, Troy's talking about the telescope and he's taking this beautiful picture eons away. I hope aliens actually come here. Like the ones that the distant stars that we're seeing, like somebody from those stars has actually already been here. They collected all of our media, have watched it, realized that we are an awful, awful species that apparently would just blow the shit out of them if they ever landed, and decided to keep moving. That's what I picture.
That sounds like the most reasonable plan.
Because if they can do space travel and everything else, they probably have access to, a Blu-ray player at least, or streaming media. And they're watching Independence Day, and they're watching they're like, Jesus Christ, they're just waiting to blow us up. Like literally every freaking movie is about them blowing us up. Even the nice sweet alien comes, they give him candy and they try to kill him too. Jesus Christ, they hate us. Let's go. Jim, just keep going. That's what I think happens. Well, my concept for it's no different than you guys. I think we're all, not all of us, but a lot of people are afraid of the dark. And, what's space if not dark? That's honestly the way I look at it. People are terrified of what they don't know. There's no way they can find out. They can't confront that fear. So therefore, they're always a little scared of it. And also excited. There's many people that are excited by space, but also a lot of people that are just terrified of it. And I love people that say that there's nothing out there. I'm like, if you believe in life of any kind, why couldn't there be life out there? You've seen that there's a lot more than just here. Even if you're religious, why couldn't your God create life anywhere else? You think he doesn't have...
I think people want to be blissfully unaware because for so many years it's scary. People are just scared. And so it's been perpetuated for a really long time, and it's easier to just pretend what we know is all we know. But that's also, in my opinion, ignorant.
Yeah, it's not just aliens. I mean, I remember we were on a cruise ship going around Hawaii when the volcano was actively erupting and it was at night. Mm-hmm. And if you're a Polynesian that's living on the island, 1,000 years ago, and you're seeing what we witnessed when we were watching that volcano from the cruise ship, it literally looks like the earth is breathing and there's a God sitting on the island across the ocean. And is that thing going to come at me? Is that thing going to, come over here, like walk across the water? Like you don't know how to describe something like that. So especially if you're back in the 1,000 years ago,
primitive, you're
primitive, yeah. So I mean, it's very easy to fear what you don't know, even if it's just even locally versus what's out in space.
So, what is the most terrifying alien entertainment in your view? Like, what scares you? You personally, what scared you the most? John?
For me, the scariest aliens out there are Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh, because they can take your spot, and you're like, I want my spot.
Yeah, I mean, nobody really wants my spot, but like,
Jesus Christ.
But like, as far as anybody else's spot, I could be sitting there and talking to George, thinking like, George is still my good buddy George, and in reality, he's waiting to kill me or whatever it is, and or even worse, all of a sudden, everyone around me becomes much nicer people, and I'm like, what is going on, and why is this like this? And then I feel like I'm crazy. So. But I just think that the whole idea of body snatching, you don't know who you can trust. You don't know what's going on. You don't know how to solve this. It just seems like you are progressively stuck further and further in yourself becoming alienated from society because you don't know what's going on anymore. So that's what I find most terrifying.
The Donald Sutherland one terrified me as a kid. That movie terrified me.
That's the only one I think of that counts.
I saw all of them because, I just love the concept. But, man, just something about his O-face when he makes his O-face at the end. And it's just like, oh, my God, I thought we were good. Oh, it was terrifying. Amanda, what about you? What's the most terrifying alien entertainment?
I'm going to have to go with the clowns from Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I can handle your predators and all of that, but what I'm not going to do is have a clown alien with creepy laughs, and even more terrifyingly, like, they don't have weapons, like real weapons. They have cotton candy stuff. Like, I don't know, man. There's just something about it that's just extra creepy, and that's not something I want to invite into my life.
I can respect
I don't need that negativity.
Troy?
I'm still with aliens for sure. Especially even more so now.
Which one though? Are you talking like the
xenomorph?
The little I get that, but I mean like the little one or the queen? Which one is the
well, all of them. They grow into it eventually, but like the chest burst scene was the first thing that like freaked me out. So I'm like with John with like body snatcher type things. The fact that this thing can grow inside of me and then just hatch and kill me is just disgusting. And now that I watched Strange New Worlds on Star Trek, and they have another species that's kind of like that in the Gorn, it just brought back all kinds of nightmares for me.
Really? You guys are interesting. The ones that terrify me the most are the ones that walk among us. So they live. I mean, that's a prime example. I always found that pretty terrifying because that feels like capitalism. So it's pretty accurate. But V, for whatever reason, I don't know why. I mean, I had seen Aliens by the time V came out, or Alien. I had seen Alien by the time V came out. I had seen a lot of Alien movies by that point, and they're all bad. They're all evil. They were all trying to kill you. The Thing, I had seen The Thing. I had seen all of these movies. But V came out, and for whatever reason, just the idea that they came here, I thought they were peaceful. They had me hook, line, and sinker as a fan watching that thing on like Sunday, Monday night. It was like a 4-hour miniseries. And, you know, you don't find out that they're aliens until it's really brilliant storytelling, I think, because they really do a good job of you're introduced to these characters, to the aliens that have come here. And they say that they're here to help you. We're going to cure your cancer. We're going to do all these great things for you. And you're starting to buy them, you know, hook, line, and sinker until you start to find out that, well, first off, they're lizards. That's creepy as hell. But should I really be fearful of them? Maybe it's playing off of my own fears and everything else. Then you find out, no, they're actually going to pick up all the people. They're going to eat you. They're going to steal all our water and go. Basically, Independence, they ripped off the entire plot of V. They just didn't have any lizard aliens. But those aliens, for whatever reason, scared the shit out of me. Because I totally believed we would be a species dumb enough to let them go ahead and set things up and just embed themselves into our communities. I had zero doubt we would do this. Everything that was there totally made sense. The comparisons to basically the Nazis really, really played into some real legitimate fears I had as a kid. So, I mean, it really just, those aliens terrified me. Absolutely terrified me.
Fears you had of a kid, how about fears you have an adult? It's all the same. Like,
yeah.
That's the thing about what is, I agree that itself is very scary, and it's not so much scary as you have this stronger force that has much more powerful weapons, but it's scarier because of the people who gave up everything or gave up people they loved or gave up everything just to get the sort of social standing that these creatures were offering them. You had Mike, whose mother started becoming, close with the aliens. And so she's selling out people left and right because she likes the social standing. And so in the end, it's not necessarily the aliens that are so scary. It's what they offer us and what people we know and love would do to take it.
And how ahead of its time was it? Because the whole concept of people will totally sell you out for celebrity. And now what do? They will sell you out for celebrity.
Oh, yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Everything, for clout, anything for internet clout. Let's do it.
And humanity is dumb because we let V happen twice.
we did. Yeah, they came back. Came back and did it again. The remake was not nearly as good.
It was not good.
And in fact, I will make the case that the original miniseries still holds up. I've rewatched it multiple. It's very
the
rare
miniseries, not the continuing TV show.
I hated the TV show. I like the final battle. I actually like the final battle. Lizard Baby.
V, the final battle. Both of those are fantastic.
Yeah, I love both of those. And I just wish they would have stopped with the miniseries because the show was not good. Didn't work. All right.
So Alan Tudyk actually freaks you out, is what you're saying.
Alan Tudyk. Oh, he's a pretty good alien. Isn't he an alien in the show?
Yeah, Resident Alien.
Yep.
Yeah.
So speaking of nice aliens, what's the kindest alien in entertainment in your view, Amanda?
I'm going to go with Paul.
Oh, God damn it.
Is that the Seth Rogen movie?
Is that yours?
Is that the Seth Rogen?
Yes.
Yes, that was mine.
I love that for us, Johnny.
It's Kismet.
Go ahead and you talk to it. I'll let you talk to it.
Oh, is it because you only just looked it up and you were like,
no,
shit.
No. Paul was the first one that came to mind.
Looked it up.
Shade
because
Bros.
he's a stoner alien and he's adorable.
Well, yeah, that's one of the. Okay, so I have made it very clear that Seth Rogen is not one of my favorite people in Hollywood, because of like everything that he's done. However, I didn't mind his voice or his stupid laugh or any of those things when it came to him portraying Paul. But you got Simon Pegg and his Nick Frost, and they're these comic book nerds, and you've got Paul that's the alien who's just like trying to survive the government, And these two guys just go on a road trip with him, and he actually makes their lives a lot better. And makes, you got Kristen Wiig, who goes from having that milky eye to now she's got two healthy eyes, and she hooks up with Simon Pegg's character. So he's making love connections out there. He's just kind of groovy and fun. Like, there's a lot of great things about the character of Paul and the relationship he develops with the people that he's with. And you almost forget the fact that he's an alien, even though, like, it's pretty obvious he's an alien.
Is it though? He has people teeth. He has people teeth. I feel like that also makes him more human to me. Like, that makes him more acceptable and not as scary. But also, so one of the things that I might have said this on the podcast before, but I know I've told you guys about it. I like Seth Rogen's laugh.
Yeah,
I am one of the in the minority.
Yeah, you're kind of a nightmare. You're a nightmare.
I know. I like it though. I think it's cute. So Paul is like the most adorable little alien to me. I want to be friends with him.
Wow.
I want to be friends with him too, but not because I think he's adorable, just because I think he's going to hook me up with chicks.
And I honestly, John, I can't believe you didn't pick Superman. That's I don't understand you. But.
Yeah, Superman was like my first bet, but I was like, that's too easy.
Well, if it's your favorite, it should be your. That's the thing. You never seem to get in the. What is your favorite? Now, what is like? Oh, I got to find something obscure.
I don't play favorites, Aaron.
That's what a favorite is. When you say what's your favorite,
ask me who my favorite is between you, Amanda, and Troy.
It's Troy.
We already
because
know.
Fuck you.
All right, Troy. Who's your favorite?
Alf, for sure.
Oh, I can go with Alf. Yeah, I get that.
Alf is like your bud. Alf will hang out with you.
Drinks
Alf
beer.
Alf will be there. Plus, Alf will eat cats.
Which is the best part about Alf. I remember every time I would watch that and he would like go after a cat and I'm like, yay. That's why I like this show. That's why I like it.
It's also why Aaron likes me more.
That's right. He hates cats, as it should be. Mine's Mork for Mork. Ron Williams, baby. No. He was just the sweetest guy, and I love that show, and I laughed a lot, and it was the first time it introduced me to Robin Williams, and my God, he was just genius and manic. So manic. So I don't know how you don't love Robin Williams.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
All right, finally, what is your view on the concept of aliens? Like, would you be afraid of them if they landed here, or how would you approach an encounter?
I believe in all people and all things are, good until proven otherwise. So I would totally just be like, yo, what's up? C batteries not included. Can you be like those things? Those things were awesome.
That's a nice pull.
Yeah.
I want to say that I would be groovy about it. I'd be like, oh, thank God, something different. All of those things. But I'm pretty sure that, they can walk up to me, speak perfectly good English, offer me the cure to cancer and the patents to all sorts of technology of theirs. And I'd still be like trying to kill them with a frying pan or something.
That's very specific.
He's always got his frying pan with him. You just never know. I always like a good egg.
You never know.
Is that why your butt looks so firm, Johnny?
My butt is amazing.
Okay, let's move on from this.
I was playing with my drone and I was having it follow me as I was walking, just to see, with this new drone that I got, that I was testing out all the settings because it's more of a camera drone. And I'm sitting there, I'm watching myself walk, and I'm like, why didn't anyone tell me my ass was so high up and firm looking? Jesus.
Oh my God. So how I would react depends on the way that they enter into my bubble, my perimeter. If they come down.
I didn't know where that was going. Yeah.
No. If they come down traditional like UFO, spaceship sort of thing, and it's massive and it just lands in front of me and they come in front of me and they're like, I don't know how they talk. That would probably scare me a little bit, but I wouldn't run away or disengage. I would probably treat it as hey, what are you doing here? Sort of thing. Get to know them, maybe take them out for a drink and show them the land. Have them take me far the hell away from here, as far as they possibly can from Earth. And let's just go, baby. Let's make friends. We need to be friends.
I think I would approach them much like I would a grizzly bear, which is trepidatiously. And if the grizzly bears would wave at me, like, come back to my cave, I would be very hesitant, and I would still keep my distance. Maybe I keep a frying pan handy. I don't know. Apparently that's the weapon of choice for when the aliens attack. But I would hope, I'd be like Troy. I would be optimistic, but I would also be like John, where I'd be like, but I'm not going to be stupid, because I've seen too many movies, and I'm not going to be that guy. I'm definitely going to have a frying pan handy. So, and when the alien's like, what do you bring the frying pan? I love to cook. I love to cook. I want to cook for you.
Do you have eggs? Let me show you how I do eggs. I'm the best at eggs.
I'm the best. And if I see anything that looks like an alien probe, I hit them and I leave. I'm out. And then I tell the government they totally want to kill us all. Yep.
But bears are nice.
Grizzly bears are not. They are not your friends. I promise you.
Yeah, see, I would totally get eaten by a grizzly bear.
You just bring it food and it'll eat the food instead of you. Do the same thing for you.
That is not how that works at all. You might be dead when the aliens attack too. Come get on the ship. I'm just going to check your butt real quick. It's a free exam.
That
sounds like Johnny's Friday night or Troy's.
Whenever I touch this, his mouth starts moving like crazy. Let's see what happens.
Why are you slobbering? That's just weird.
I don't know what this button over here does, but it has a control over his mouth.
Some listeners wanted to name off some of their favorite aliens and comments of why we're so afraid of them. So I want to mention this. Matt Herring said the dangerous and unknown is more attractive to humans than friendship and building relationships. Once again, proving my theory that we are descended from cats.
Makes sense.
I love that.
Aaron's worst nightmare.
Yeah, it is really my worst nightmare. Andreas says, I think aliens are a blank canvas. They can be anything you can imagine, which makes for endlessly interesting stories you can tell about them. For me, the best monster designs are those that are somewhat grounded in familiar shapes and behaviors, like Alien, the Predator, or the shapeshifter from The Thing. The Predator's a great one. That's a great alien design. You are one ugly motherfucker.
Yeah, we almost didn't get that design for the Predator.
What do you mean?
James Cameron was on a plane with some guy, and I forget who the guy was, but as I understand it, he was a prominent designer of things, and so James Cameron and him were striking up a converation, and I could have made the story completely up in my head, but I'm just gonna go with it.
Sure. Just keep making it up.
But I'm also gonna make up the whole fact that they joined the Mile High Club and whatever, but. James Cameron showed him the design for what the alien was supposed to look like, and if you've seen the behind the scenes stuff for that movie, it's not the Predator we got. It was the original design, which had like a dinosaur head or something to it, like a brontosaurus type head to it. And this designer, like on the plane, drew up something for him, and that's how we got the Predator we know.
And Jean-Claude Van Damme, I believe, was the original Predator before he was recast.
Yes, he was the original Predator, yes.
Would have been funny. Because, I mean, who doesn't want to see the Predator do leg splits? Like, seriously.
Like all the time.
Every time. Michael James Rook says, Explorers offered a unique take on this. Aliens literally so freaked out by how Hollywood portrayed them, they just had to ask why. Honestly, though, it's got to be that we're worried aliens will be just as stupid and flawed as us.
That's actually a great pull, and I'm glad Rook pulled that. Because that movie is one of my favorites as far as that has to do with aliens and just the magic and wonder about going into space and something like that. Yeah.
Jennifer Miller mentioned the underwater creature in The Abyss and the spider head in The Thing for creepy aliens, but she loves the misunderstood alien in The Iron Giant. That's a good reference.
Very cool.
That's a great movie. That's a very underappreciated movie. The Abyss is too.
Absolutely.
The Abyss is too. Marvin Sewell. I think it's more a curiosity instead of a fear of the unknown. I believe it's widely accepted that the Earth, and as a result humans, make up a really small part of what exists. The possibility of what's out there are literally endless, and thus a great place for creative minds to invent from. Oh, that's nice. But I still think Transformers are the best. I mean, those transformations are just so phenomenal. Right, Troy? They're so good. So good.
Whether they take a half a second or 15 minutes. All of them great.
All right, well, share your thoughts on this episode or anything else in our Facebook group, The Hollywood Outsider. We're on Twitter @BuyPopcorn. Our site is TheHollywoodOutsider.com. Please rate and subscribe us on your preferred podcast app. Vote for us for the podcast awards. Go to podcastawards.com. We're in the categories of entertainment, and the Blacklist Exposed, which Troy and I do, is on TV and film. But go to our website, and there's more detailed information if you want that. You can find John's artwork on Insta and Twitter at rjohndraws, Amanda on Veronica's Marshmallows and Smirk, and at Sink Into This on Twitter, Troy at Troy Heinritz, as well as on the Blacklist Exposed and Beyond Westworld. Both of us are on both those podcasts. Westworld is back, and it's a phenomenal season, by the way. So it's much better than season 3. Definitely go check it out, and then listen to Beyond Westworld in your podcast apps. And presenting Hitchcock, I do that, and I'm at Aaron Smirks on Twitter. Now, last thing, and then we're out of here. Bitches, this is it. Boom. How do you survive? Alien Edition. First scenario. This is where we give you a scenario, and you guys got to tell us how you're going to survive. Don't make a book report. Just quickly, how do you survive? You are trapped in a boarded-up home with 6 of your closest friends. Nothing but common household appliances to fight with, and the Thing organism is on the loose. The Thing. It's that, creepy. You know it has inhabited one of your friends, but you have no idea which one. If you do not kill it, you will certainly die. How do you survive? And also, I should mention, your species probably will too. So how do you survive? Troy?
Well, the problem here is that I'm trapped in a home with 6 of my closest friends, and if I'm trapped with anybody for any period of time, I'll probably go a little bit apeshit and crazy. So
they'll kill you first.
I'm going to fake that I am the one that's actually inhabited with the Thing to get people to try to come at me, to come out of hiding. And then I would kill them. So as I killed them off independently one by one, I would systematically wipe everybody out to survive. And then at the end, I would stand up and I would scream, "I done it!"
Shit.
Nice. Ill world. What?
Oh, that's a great movie pull. Nice job.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Amanda, how do you survive?
Okay, so if the human race is at risk, I'm going to have to find new friends. So I'm going to find the turkey baster, a spatula, a dessert spoon.
This sounds
a
more...
meat thermometer.
Are you sure you're not on 50 Shades of
Baking
Grey?
a cake for the Thing. That's what she's doing.
A meat tenderizer, and a frying pan. And I'm going to use those objects, each one separate, to kill a different friend. And then we just know that it's gone. And I use those utensils, those kitchen appliances or utensils or whatever you want to call them, because they have actually all been used in a murder case. A real murder.
Can I, as a potential friend in this scenario, can I request to not die by turkey baster? Because I just feel like that's going to be an oral thing, and
I'm gonna give you
totally dying
no.
by
That
turkey
one's
baster.
with poison. You get poison through the
or an
turkey
anal
baster.
thing. Either way, I just don't want to die by a turkey baster. I just feel like everything about that screams
For
sexual.
a positive
and-
spin, you could use the turkey baster to suck the Thing organism out.
Only if
I
it comes
could.
through their
Who's
butt. How else is sucking them out?
I
Or if
don't
I
think it
open 'em
works
up.
that way.
Surgery.
There you go. Okay, Amanda's playing Clue.
All right. This is how it's gonna work for me.
Oh,
Okay.
Jesus.
So I'm gonna rig every single appliance in the house to give off a pretty sizable shock, because we know that if you shock the Thing organism, it's going to expose the Thing organism to the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do that. And then I'm going to start asking a random friend to do something nice for me and see what happens. Now, as soon as that person does something nice for me, they're going to, get shocked by the Thing. But the joke's on all of them, because I know that the fact that the creature would go and do something nice for me inherently means that's the alien, because none of my real friends would ever do anything nice for me. So as soon as that person goes and does something nice for me, I'm going to set the timer on the microwave, because I've already busted the gas on the stove.
Jesus
and the whole
Christ.
place has been filling up with gas, and I'm going to set the timer for 3 seconds to say "Hasta la vista, putos," and jump out the window before the house blows up.
This is so dark. It just went so dark.
I just want you to know, John, that I care about you, and I would totally shove a turkey baster up your ass to save your life.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I done it.
I won't. That thing's gotten too firm, apparently. It sounds like a workout all on its own.
I can just rip that turkey baster right out of your hand with my butt
I
cheeks.
hate to watch you leave, but I love to watch you walk away. Oh my god! All right. Well, I would.
It's like 2 hams underneath the blanket.
Those aren't pillows.
I would just do the jail time. I grab all the liquor I can find, wait till everybody's sleeping. I say goodbye to my little friends, light a Zippo, do a cool superhero walk out of the room, and then make a dash to the basement where I should be able to survive, even if the house burns down. You know, you just got to do what you got to do for the species. That's what I say. I done it.
This clearly tells us why I sit up in my office and build Legos and have no friends.
Ooby dooby doo.
Ooby dabby
We
dabby
got
dab.
some work to do.
You find a seemingly charmingly alien. No, you find a seemingly charming alien hiding in your shed. This is scenario number 2. You can either choose to help it find its ship, to go home, and be with its family, but it'll put your family in jeopardy with the government who are hunting it. Or you can turn the alien in and risk an alien invasion retaliation. How do you survive? Amanda.
This feels real easy. I am under the assumption that aliens are a smarter life form than we are, probably have more advanced technology. So I'm going to help them escape, and I'm going with them. I'm going to gather my family, and we're just going to go. I did think about doing the double
breathe?
spy situation.
Hang on, what if you can't breathe? Like,
Well, then I guess I'm gone.
the ship lands wherever on their planet. They get down and like, all right, you're here. And then you just walk out and die because you can't breathe.
That would be really unfortunate.
And then poor ET's like, shit, nobody thought to get some oxygen when we were there? Nobody? Steve? Damn it, Steve. Sorry, go
Well,
ahead.
let's be fair. Yeah, I feel like my partner will have a little evac bag prepared for all of us. So I'm not too worried about that. I don't have to think about those logistics. All I have to do, and potentially I've even thought about playing like a double spy, like, FBI, I found your alien. You know, meet me at this site, blah, 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 in a completely different direction from where we're going to escape.
Okay. All right, John.
Yeah.
How do you survive?
All right, so I actually don't trust that this sweet, kind little alien is actually sweet and kind. I know I've gone through all the things. I've given him the Reese's Pieces. He and I have developed a psychic connection. I still don't trust him because, you know what? Nobody is this nice. Not even an alien. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and set up the microwave to explode, and with the tools, I'm going to
fire,
call up the
don't you?
FBI, and I'm gonna sit there and be like, even with my family in the house too, I'm gonna be like, hasta la vista, putos, and set off the whole explosion, jump out the window, and there, I'm good.
At least you didn't attack him with a box of flies.
I'm going to collect my congressional medal, and I'm going to have the words "Hasta la vista, putos" engraved on the back of it. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay. Troy, how do you survive? Jesus.
Seeing as that E.T. scarred me for life because it was the first movie I think I saw in the theater, and I can remember just sitting in the back of the car, like just clawing my way out the back window, going, "Come back, E.T., come back!" And then when they said my name on the ET ride at Universal Studios, I was like, "Oh my gosh, you said my name! It's so awesome!" I don't care at my family. Screw them. I'm going with the little nice alien and doing whatever I need to do with the little nice alien. Family can get taken by the government. Don't care.
That's sweet.
Not for his family.
You hear that, Tracy? Rugrat 1, Rugrat 2. You hear that?
I would.
You're all
you
sacrifices.
I'm going to love them and hog them and squeeze them and call them George.
And call him George.
Jesus Christ. I'd leave a trail of Reese's Pieces from my door all the way to the FBI. I don't know. I don't know where this disease Muppet's been. Screw that. So, like Jordan Peele says, I'm going to get out.
Nope.
Sorry. And then what happens will happen. That's what I say. God. We would all doom the world, just so you know.
I think I have a good fighting chance for the world.
I think no one in John's vicinity has a fighting chance. Because once they go to
No,
sleep, the
because
house
he wants
explodes.
to set everything on fire. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to set off every single thing I can set off, and just so I can just have the awesome line and jump out a window.
Jeez.
I hurt so
what if
bad.
your puppy's
Like
inside?
the puppy's coming with me, bro. I don't know about you, but she's small. She can. I got a puppy sling and everything for her.
Jesus.
But what if something happens and she gets away from you? somehow, and you already
Hasta la
set off
vista,
like the
putas.
bomb.
That's not gonna. First of all, the puppy sling I have has a hook inside of it, so I can hook it to her collar. So if it's wrapped around me and then hooked to her collar, there's no way. I've got one, man.
She runs away from you before you can hook her and get her in the sling.
You don't think I walk around the house with freaking treats in my pocket now?
Dear God. This is it. We're done. Everybody, have a wonderful week. And remember, the next time you head to a theater, probably to see Nope, buy popcorn.